My bet is on Iran winning this war, and here's why. As much as we might talk about tactics and positioning and advantages when it comes to any battle or any war, ultimately, any war comes down to one side's will versus the other. There's a saying along the lines that so long as someone is willing to pick up a stone and throw it, their side is not yet beaten. Because the way we define the end of conflict is when conflict ceases, when everyone returns to some sort of peace. There's a reliable day to day that allows everyday life to just continue. And it's the quality of that peace that people fight wars over. It's deciding who gets to define the rules during that peacetime. With that in mind, let's look at this illegal war against Iran. Sure, the United States has a larger, more expensive, and better equipped military to fight all kinds of battles, and they also have Israel as a sort of forward operating base and foothold in the region. Not only that, we have a smattering of other states that form sort of a lesser alliance around Iran, places that house our military bases as well as other sort of military installations. And when you take all of that stuff together, you might assume that the US and Israel and all of their little allies have the advantage because they have more going for them than Iran does, technically. Iran has mountains, which allows for some amount of natural defense, and it has a good amount of money and support from countries like China and Russia. But other than a few resistance groups that they arm around the region, they're kind of going it alone. But to them, the fight is life or death. Either they win, either they push back US interventionism, or their regime falls apart. The country falls apart. They become under the thumb of Western imperialism. Which means even though the Iranian regime was on shaky footing just a few weeks ago, it is now re-solidified because of the violence that the US has brought upon it. Even killing Iran's head of state, the Ayatollah, doesn't fucking do anything. He was probably going to be dead soon anyway. So the Iranian regime just executed their succession plan and then started taking the fight to all the US bases and allies in the region, now with renewed vigor from support that they're getting from people who are upset about seeing their children blown up. And they're working with home field advantage. Everything is in their territory or adjacent to it, which means they actually don't need the best, most expensive weaponry. They can just lob cheap shit over their borders over and over and over again. And sure, the US and Israel may be able to intercept a lot of those drones and missiles, but the interceptors cost like 10 times as much as the offensive weapons. Which means that the US and Israel are actually draining their supply of weaponry faster than Iran's. They are draining their ability to wage war faster than Iran's. But now you might be thinking, wait, our economy, our population, especially when you factor in the economies and populations of like Israel and all of the minor allies in the region, all of that together is still certainly enough to overwhelm Iran and their defenses. And you would probably be right if everyone in all of those countries actually wanted to attack Iran. But we don't. Fucking no one does. It's wasting millions, if not billions of dollars. It's getting people killed on both sides. It's destabilizing the region, and it makes us a bigger target for things like terror attacks. It makes literally all of our lives less safe for no benefit whatsoever. Even if this was purely a war of conquest and we were just trying to take their land and all of their resources and sell it to the highest bidder, it still wouldn't make us as much as it costs to take them in the first place. Which means while Iran is fighting for their fucking lives, we are fighting for literally nothing. Nobody on the US's side of this gets anything out of it. Military contractors might get a few big contracts coming up, but pretty soon that funding is going to run out and their resources to build weapons is also going to dry up. Israel might think this is their perfect chance to expand, but they are getting heavily bombarded by Iran, which threatens the entire colony of Israel, not because Iran's actually going to be able to kill that many people in Israel, but because the entire colony is full of people who moved there because they thought it would be a neat, cheap way in order to steal someone's land. But they're not there to fucking die over it, and if they think that that's going to be the case, they're going to continue to move in droves, which is going to make a huge population problem in the very near future. Then there's all the other countries that have military bases and our assets in them. They only put them there because they thought that we would protect them, and we are not fucking protecting them. So, how long are they going to let us keep shit there? So, yeah, even though the US and Israel may be able to kill more Iranians than the Iranian regime can kill Americans and Israelis, that is not going to be what decides this conflict. Because for every Iranian killed, there's going to be two more pissed off and personally motivated to pick up their arms and take action. But for every American and Israeli killed, it's two more saying, why the fuck were we doing this in the first place? Which means the US and Israel's spirit, their will to keep fighting, is going to break first. The question now is how many people have to die and how many billions of dollars need to be wasted before we just fucking stop.